Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's show. We are your three bucks. Eric, Tej, and B. So boys.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
How was your 4th of July? Was everyone safe? No one lost fingers or hooves?
All digits intact.
All digits intact.
That's what I like to hear.
Heck yeah.
You want to know what's not intact digit-wise?
Joey Chestnut's numbers at the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. That's
Man,
not
that guy
intact.
has regressed. Look at that. He won first place again, but last year he was able to take down 76 hot dogs. This year, not so much.
But here's
63.
the thing. Controversy. A couple of things. Now, normally, in the hot dog eating contest, you take the water-soaked wieners, and because that helps you, I guess, shove them down easier. I'm not entirely sure. There's a process with
there's
the
like a
water,
science
right?
to it.
I'm not making okay. Or could it have been this Darth Vader-looking character that was protesting the event, approached the podium? What was
Let's
he going to
just
do?
put it this way. When you read about a choke out, you read news that somebody got choked out at a wiener contest. You think that they got choked on the wiener, right?
100%. I mean, I'm connecting the dots, like choking, wieners. Okay, I can,
Right, wiener. Okay, hot dog eating contest. Somebody choked. What is this about? Darth Vader got choked out. What?
Insane.
That's what happened.
It turns out that a lot of bettors that had the over/under hot dogs were pissed and supposedly are to be refunded. Because I don't know how long your deal lasted, but apparently it was enough for him to come up 13 wieners short. This year.
If you're chewing on a dog and you're choking someone out, it's going to definitely take a little bit longer to take down those hot dogs.
I will say, if you watch the video,
What if they both started choking at the same time?
all credit to Joey Chestnut, man. He didn't lose. He stayed composed. He kept stuffing, and he kept choking.
I guess it's not
the guy
fair to
out.
say the market's impacting him as well, regression-wise. He's doing fine if he's choking people out at the same time.
Well, Darth Vader was a catalyst that sent him to a bearish trend, right?
There you go.
It could have been his father, Luke.
You know who else seems to think that they're the godfather of everything?
Who's that?
Elon Musk. Once thought of as the godfather of Twitter, has reportedly decided to terminate his agreement with Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw Elon Musk was suspended from Twitter.
Yeah, that's a saga in itself. You guys have more information on that? I know you brought it to my attention supposedly about his Twitter account being suspended.
Yeah, so there was a bunch of news stories. You have to be careful when, especially even us at $3, when we like to break some news on our Twitter. You got to be careful what you see out there. I read there was a bunch of outlets putting out Elon Musk is now suspended from Twitter, and there was a bunch of people sharing it, and I was like, "What? No way!" And we follow Elon Musk, so I click on Elon Musk, and of course there's no banner that indicates that he's suspended.
Right.
So, of course, it's somebody out there that had an Elon Musk, but the L in Elon was a capital I.
Yeah.
So it looked like Elon Musk, but it generated news. But how embarrassing is that?
But what's more concerning, the fact that this agreement may fall through, or the fact that all of the companies that reported this to be the case were entirely fooled by a capital I? Like,
It's today's media, man. It's
no, it's
sometimes you
absolutely
can't tell them apart
insane.
from the tabloids.
It's more about being first to report as opposed to being accurate, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these companies try to be quick, very quick with it. In the news industry, quick is good as long as you're accurate.
Yes, absolutely.
Quick is also good in every other sector, though, right? If you're going to get food, you got to be quick.
Better be. I mean, I'm getting sick of waiting in these long lines, to be entirely honest with you.
I would say every sector. I mean, when you're in the bedroom, the ladies don't like it to be too quick.
Well, it could
That
be,
sounds like a problem you've dealt with.
It could be a turn on for them. Like, hey, this guy can't handle me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, there we go.
But food.
Yeah, speaking of something hot and ready.
Oh, yeah.
I just went into a Little Caesars recently, and I went to go get a hot and ready, and it was not ready. It was not hot. I was sitting there probably about 30 minutes for this hot and ready, and it's because so many people are ordering online, and there were so many people just walking ahead of me and opening up the box.
The little machine they have.
The little
built
machine
there,
they have, yeah, just to grab their
little
pizza and
automated.
go. Yeah, so talk about service going downward in that sense. I waited so long. They no longer have hot and readies if you're a walk-in customer.
Yeah, I mean, they're neglecting the people that come into the storefront because they have so many orders to fulfill online. It's definitely going to be hard to find a balance unless you completely automate the entire system, like a company called Pistro. They've automated a pizza process where you just kind of roll up and do, and
Doop, doop, doop.
Walk away, right?
Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop. Pepperonis.
Think Redbox. I mean, this is literally like a contraption, a robot that you say, yep, I want cheese. Yep, I want pepperoni. I want more cheese. Drip a little bit of sauce in there. And cook.
Yeah.
And then out pops your pizza. Ding. But this is a real thing. It's called Pystro. You know, especially with the labor shortage right now, right? There's a labor shortage. There are some people that don't want to come back to work. Well, this thing is a machine that not only could you put this in the public like a Redbox, but you could have pizza companies actually buying it to replace employees if they don't have anybody applying.
They could literally lease the equipment, basically.
Speaking of a recession, yeah. I mean, right now jobs are available, but pretty soon, if that happens, there'll be less jobs available.
You know what? I like this company. They're like, screw it. People don't want to work for us. You know, we don't want to do the hiring process. Robots.
Well, and it also, what does it also do? It cleans, I would say it's cleanly.
Cleanly and efficient. No more screwed up orders. No more tomatoes on Eric's Crunch Wrap.
Oh, God, thank you.
You know?
Yeah, it gets rid of that, putting your hands on the food, passing it over. There's not going to be any of that. You're literally just typing in. It has the ingredients in there. Bada boom.
Bada boom. That actually just triggered a video I saw this week in my mind of this woman driving behind a pickup truck. And a lightning strike absolutely, by all accounts, appears to have obliterated this pickup truck.
First thing I think of when you say that is, I mean, that's organic electric vehicles right there.
Oh, yeah.
Is this not Back to the Future?
Yeah, maybe the truck was going 88 miles an hour.
There we go. Now they're in 1985.
Now they're
Better times.
After the explosion took them right back down. Yeah, 1955.
It was actually an insane video to see. They're very entertaining. You know, it's like slowing down when you see a car accident. For whatever reason, we just want to see the negativity and the gore and the...
See, I'm usually the guy that's trying to get around you, who's slowing traffic down to watch all that.
Oh, well, then that explains everything. You're not normal.
Bucks, we have a lot to unpack. Let's jump into the woods. We have Musk versus Twitter intensifying. The cryptocurrency fallout deepens. And the XBI rises from the ashes. So stay tuned. We have a lot to talk about. And at the end, we'll have the hunts of the week. Let's go.
This week's impacts on your Daily Buck. In NFT news, celebrity Chris Brown's NFT project sells 297 of 10,000 pieces after being on sale for a week. Ooh. In the stock market, Amazon partners with DoorDash. But what happens to Grubhub? The FOMC meeting looms later this month with expected 50 to 75 basis point hike. Meanwhile, the CPI inflation numbers drop on Wednesday, July 13th. So buckle up. And with Elon Musk terminating his merger agreement with Twitter, looks like litigation's in the cards. In all things crypto, Ethereum successfully tested their network on Wednesday, July 6th with 94% accuracy in preparation for the merge forecasted later this year. Last week we mentioned Voyager doing transaction freezing. This week, Voyager's claiming bankruptcy. Another one bites the dust. And lastly, the amount of Bitcoins leaving exchanges hits an all-time high in June. This does not mean it's being sold. This and more, and how it impacts your daily buck.
Don't take your advice from a bunch of animals. We are not financial advisors, but we do welcome you to join us in the woods for education and entertainment purposes only.
All right, Bucks, let's go ahead and jump right into the major trends on this week's indices. We'll start off with the Dow, posting a 1.95% gain on the 5-day green, thankfully. The NASDAQ with a 5.71% increase. The S&P with a 3.13% increase. Represent the D. And we added OpenSea volume this time around. The 7-day was 118 million, a 12.57% decrease in the last 7 days. That is 7 days, not 5.
Yeah, I think that really flows into, you know, some of the sales for NFTs have been kind of waning, right?
Right.
It's all tied to everything else, right? You have the markets that have been down. You have the crypto markets, the crypto winter. But yeah, the NFT is really, that crowd's really taking a hit. In fact, we mentioned on like an episode or so ago about celebrities distancing themselves from NFTs. And it looks like, Chris Brown.
Breezy didn't get the memo.
Yeah, Breezy didn't get he dove straight in, but belly flopped because.
Yeah, those are some still waters, huh?
Very still, because his project has been on sale for over a week, and it has sold 297 of a 10,000 piece collection, which is not very good. Maybe $3 podcast, just hearing us talk about it, will drive sales up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Chris Brown should be thanking us, to be honest.
Yeah, that's right.
Go and get yours now.
I mean, that's like 2% of his project sold out, something like that.
Yeah,
so
that's abysmal.
I shouldn't say sold out. I should say sold.
Sold.
Yeah. But I saw a couple classy ones. He has laser eyes in a few. In other news, you have Elon Musk and Twitter, and this looks like it could be a long drawn out lawsuit.
Yeah, the
right
Musk
now,
versus Twitter saga.
Yes, Musky. You're going to have Twitter essentially coming after Elon Musk is what the reports say. And Elon Musk's response to why he pulled out was essentially that there was false and misleading representation in regards to how many bots there were and the performance of Twitter. So that's why he's pulling out of the deal.
Well, yeah, I mean, these social media companies are continually, reducing the amount of spam and bot accounts. I mean, I saw some interesting numbers this week, even on Meta's Facebook. It's like in the billions of spam bot accounts they're having to remove. Now, I don't know what Twitter's policy is on removing these. I know that if you look at any tweet that has a hashtag of NFT or NFTs, NFT community, you guys have seen it. It says promote it on such and such,
you get about
5
retweets.
And you get about 5 to 6 retweets. It's like 5 or 6 bots. I know it to be a problem without even like seeing the real numbers.
Yeah, you don't even really have to be like a habitual user to know that it's a problem. Let's go ahead and dive into a merge that by all means does appear to still be intact. And that is the Ethereum merge to proof of stake. They have successfully tested most recently on July 6th with a 94% what I would call hit rate on some of the metrics they were looking to accomplish. And we mentioned in times past that this was a bullish thing for Ethereum investors, and they appear to still be on track for August to October of this year.
It's definitely a major catalyst for Ethereum.
Yeah, I mean, because, one of the main things with Bitcoin is the energy consumption, and, so it's just one more way for Ethereum to differentiate themselves.
Yep. Speaking of Bitcoin, though, the big thing that we mentioned, we have record numbers from June 2022 of people pulling their Bitcoin off of exchanges. So, and that's not cash dollar record numbers, but that's still record number for Bitcoin.
So, yeah, in terms of Bitcoins leaving the exchanges?
Coins.
Yes.
Okay, nice.
So, what does that mean? It's not a bad thing. It definitely could be bullish. It means that people aren't directly selling right now. They may be taking their Bitcoin and bringing it over to a Ledger wallet. They may be putting it onto DeFi or onto different wallets, but they're getting it off of the exchanges.
Well, a lot of that could be fear-induced as well, because we talked about Voyager filing for bankruptcy, and it just seems like there's been a litany of those kind of events happening within the crypto market of exchanges, biting the dust.
That is a very valid point that you make, TJ. It could very well. Now, normally it is a bullish thing because, if you look at it from a supply and demand standpoint, investors are physically, if you will, taking their Bitcoins out of exchanges, theoretically reducing the supply to new investors. But in this case, it could be that they're worried that the exchange that they're currently keeping their investments on might freeze.
Yeah,
their withdrawals
and
their money's gone forever. So that's why this time around we're saying, is it bullish?
I'd suggest it is bullish because that means that their sentiment is not, their concerns are not tied to Bitcoin itself, it's tied to the exchange. So the fact that they're not selling their Bitcoin, they're keeping it, that means that they still believe that it's going to come back.
Yeah, I have to mirror Eric's sentiment. I think I lean towards that.
Close your eyes. Can you smell that?
No.
Can you taste that?
Taste what?
Can you feel that?
Ooh, I feel my hand clicking like, follow, subscribe to the $3, and it feels so good.
Let your voices be heard. The $3 are on Spotify, Twitter, YouTube, and more.
Welcome back. There's a lot of negative news out there in the stock market, and of course, look at it. We've been in a bearish trend.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, a lot of red out there. But let's talk about the good that's in the stock market. Across all the negative news, the major indices, while they've been down, the ones that have had the fastest recovery would probably blow your mind.
Wait, let me interject before you say it, because Eric's getting really excited over here.
I can already see his eyes
Give him
going,
a moment, man. Give him a moment. Chill. It's coming.
It's coming.
Go ahead. You'll have your say, Eric. Don't worry.
So get this. Well, the S&P's been down negative 18% year to date. NASDAQ's down negative 26%. Dow's down negative 14%. This is all year to date. Listen to what XBI, the biotech ETF, listen to its recovery in the last month. Plus 25.96% has been up in the last month. Biotech.
Let's go. That's my portfolio you're talking about, baby.
That is impressive. I mean, even the S&P over the last month has only came back by... No, it hasn't come back. It's minus 0.04% in the last month. So it's doing better than the broader market. Now, that doesn't mean it's doing better year to date, but it's having the fastest recovery right now. And
that's how it sounds, sort of V recovery-ish. A lot of people hope for in the macro market.
I'm very excited. Over the past month, it's basically 25% ahead of the rest, if not more, ahead of the rest of the indices. So BioPharms are taking off. I think in part you're starting to see some mergers that are happening. Mm-hmm. A lot of these bigger BioPharms are buying at lows. That's really one huge catalyst for this sector.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned, we being me and Eric discussed that is it the sort of is it cyclical somehow or the other? Like it just seems kind of like random, because I was asking him, being that he's basically our BioPharm buck. Is there any sort of catalyst? Like what's, normally some companies that have PDUFAs coming up, drugs in the pipeline, but it's like the whole sector took off. I'm invested in Sorrento, playing that stock for quite some time and have had some good results, but I've been in the hole lately. But it's come back to life. It went from $2 to like $2.80 this last week. So
well, keep in mind, so XBI has been going down for a while now. So it may have been hitting its lows now, and now it's coming back. Because in 2021, while a lot of these stocks were still going up, a lot of these sectors, XBI was trailing. It was, it hit $165 per share.
Yeah.
That was in February of 21. After that point, it just kept going down.
And it fell off a cliff.
There was a handful of good BioPharm stocks that you could have held, which I was lucky enough to have a couple of those. So I didn't feel it as much, but the XBI has been tanking for a while, so it could be at its bottom, making a nice bounce back recovery.
Yeah, there's some big stocks that are in there right now. I mean, even some of the big names that you've heard of, some folks like Moderna. They were part of the COVID vaccines. ABBV is another big one. Obviously, you mentioned Sorrento, SRNE, and then the one that probably gets a plug every week, every now and again from Eric over here is BCRX. Those are notable names that are part of the XBI index.
BCRX has been simply chatting up, by the way, since they touched down. What was it, like low 8s or maybe even high 7s?
Yeah.
I missed that move. You told me to pull the trigger, and I think I just did something else. But
yeah, I mean, BCRX has been quiet, but it's been slowly coming back, and I feel good about that. I like that company. I think it's a great company. But you even look at like Merck. Merck is one of them. Merck Incorporated is purchasing SGEN. Yeah, that's a huge acquisition right there, and it hasn't went through yet, but there's rumors that it's going to be more than $40 billion purchase.
And what does SGEN do?
They have a whole pipeline for essentially oncology. So any major biopharmaceutical company would be looking at them to purchase if they needed to get into the oncology sector. So,
Teach, do you have any BioPharm in your portfolio? I know you mentioned ABBV. I have ABBV, and I imagine you know why.
Yeah, I actually don't. The only ones that I've had before, I kept them very short term. I actually kept BCRX short term, but that was off some recommendations from our co-host Eric.
Turned a profit, right?
Yeah, I did. I did turn a profit. INMB, I ran a swing play on INMB.
Turned a profit, right?
I turned a profit, yes. But I think the focus too here is on the index XBI. We have to remember, biotech stocks can be highly speculative, especially if you're getting into one that is studying a very, something broad. If it's too broad, cancer or something, there could be 1,000 other companies, and it doesn't mean that this one company is going to be successful. And I think that's why you have an index like XBI, which kind of protects some of that risk because it's weighting it across several different major companies.
Yeah. You're going to have companies that present negative readouts, or, when you're talking about BioPharms, you're talking about clinical studies, right? So they're doing phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, if it gets FDA approved. Now, if a company has a bad readout at phase 2 or phase 1, there's likely that company's just going to flop. They're not making money before they have an FDA approved drug. They're basically making money on donations and
they're seeking
grants.
funding. Yeah, it's very much a hit or miss space. Like you hit really big or you miss really big.
But you have these big biopharm companies that have multiple drugs, huge facet of ways of pulling in money. So those are going to be your safer routes. So those are sprinkled into the XBI, but you also have the speculative plays. Some are going to take off, some will be buyouts, some are going to flop. And that's
you don't
where
want
you're
to
protecting yourself.
You don't want to neglect the small ones because those are potentially the ones that get sought for buyouts. And so sometimes, even though these biotech plays are probably very volatile, it might be worth looking into.
I just think biotech requires very specific due diligence. It's not, I wouldn't say that you can just throw your money into a biotech stock like you can Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola probably isn't going to go out of business tomorrow. So if you didn't get to hear their earnings call or an update on what's going on with Coca-Cola yesterday, if you caught up later in the week, you'll probably be okay. But biotech, it does really make all the difference. You got to watch those very closely. And I think that's why the XBI index, I like it. If I were going long term in biotech and I was highly convicted, that's probably an index I would look at because that would keep me a little bit more well protected, having a lot of stocks in there. And it's got a low expense ratio. It's at 0.35%. That's pretty fair. That's
it is, yes.
A small tip that I would give, I like investing in biopharms, but typically if I'm trying to invest, I'm looking to make sure that the company either is in phase 3, phase 2 or 3. I oftentimes don't like to go for companies that are in phase 1 trials, and it's just too early. So much could go wrong.
That's good intel. Good intel.
So I like phase 2 or phase 3, and then I also like to see that they've already had FDA approved drugs in the past. If this company has had FDA approved drugs, they know the process, they know how to go through it without hitting any speed bumps. It makes me a little bit more confident that they're going to be successful moving forward with the drug I'm looking at, essentially.
So are you guys a buyer of XBI going forward?
I am.
Or some of the
so I actually
tickers
think that,
in the
I think
index.
that there's a lot of opportunity there. I think you have to base it on catalyst, but if we're talking about the XBI specifically, I do think that right now it's on a bullish trend, and I think we're going to break some resistance here. So I would be investing in XBI right now. I think it's going to continue to rise, personally.
Each, do you have an opinion on anything?
Well, we've talked about ETFs, and generally you can build your own basket of stocks and get away from the expense ratio and fees. But in a biotech atmosphere, I think that I would be more inclined to invest in an ETF like the XBI if I was trying to get exposure to that genre.
Yeah, if you're not somebody that's willing to do the diligence that somebody the likes of Eric is willing to do, that's probably the best idea.
Yeah.
Hunt of the week.
It is hunting time, and I got my scopes set on a fox. And I'm talking about ticker symbol FOX.
Okay.
Fox News, Fox Corporation. You've heard of them. They're a news, sports, entertainment company in the United States. They have actually about 29 broadcast television stations. You've probably heard of some. Fox Business, Fox Sports, FS1. The list goes on. I'm choosing Fox as a watch list opportunity because we are in a political midterm year. And once we get closer to the fall, this is when these types of companies start garnering a little bit more ratings. I feel like this is a good opportunity to get in right as the political season really starts kicking into full gear. And with the market the way it's been this year, Fox is actually at a pretty good value. So they're priced right now at about $30.63. They're considered to be way undervalued. According to Simply Wall Street, these guys should be priced closer to like the 70s, 80s. But even from a future growth perspective, over the next 1 to 3 years, they're forecasted 11% growth, and they do pay a dividend. I believe their dividend is semi-annual at a 1.44%. So this gives you, exposure to the communication sector, and of course, the catalyst being the midterms coming up. So, Fox, what you got for us, B?
I'm going to go ahead and roll with ADA. That is the ticker symbol for Cardano. Currently trading at, I think, 46 cents. It is a cryptocurrency, but not just a cryptocurrency. It's a decentralized blockchain that also has taken the proof of stake approach. The main differentiator between them and, let's say, the most popular blockchain, Ethereum, is that they are the first blockchain to have been founded with peer-reviewed research and evidence-based methods. They take a very mathematical approach to the way they do their consensus relative to Ethereum. And what's interesting about Cardano as well is that the team is comprised of members that actually worked on Ethereum in times past. And they have smart contracts enabled as well, which is very significant in the space because that is essentially what differentiates Ethereum from a lot of other blockchains as well, is that you can make transactions on the network without any third party. For me, it's a long-term hold because I think the risk reward is there. If you were looking to get into crypto space and you didn't have, $1,200 to invest in Ethereum, you could, invest in Cardano for 46 cents and, may not necessarily break the bank.
Great. This week's hunt for me is going to be cat. Cat's out of the bag. So Caterpillar is my hunt of the week. We all know who they are. They are a world leader with their manufacturing of construction and mining equipment. Essentially, they make engines. They make all sorts of things that you're going to need to bulldoze land, bulldoze these markets so that we can get back climbing up. But they are all over the world. They're in the U.S., they're in Mexico, Canada, China, Australia, just to name a few. And this company is down because of inflation, cost of living. People are not necessarily going out and buying new pieces of equipment. It costs too much. Transporting it, the gas, all of this is making things cost way too much. So people are rather fixing their old items than buying new equipment. I foresee this only being a short while. I do think that Caterpillar is going to be taking off and hopefully the gas will actually be coming down in price fairly soon here and we can actually see their sales go up a little bit. On top of that, speculatively, they could see an increase in sales and increase in contracts working with the rebuild in Ukraine. That's, again, speculative, but another opportunity. They do pay a dividend. Their dividend is $1.20 per share, and that is quarterly. So it's nothing too crazy, but it's still respectable. What's also very interesting, it kind of links back to what I talked about 2 weeks ago about Plug Power. They are actually testing hydrogen-fueled combined heat and power systems. Ooh. And that's something that's actually funded through the government. So I think that that's a really cool avenue. It's a 3-year project in Minnesota. We'll see what that turns into down the road. But I like that they're actually looking at different avenues outside of combustion engines to go towards this green impact on the environment. So check them out. They're not going anywhere. They're one of the big boys in the sector. So they closed at $179, and they've been as high as $230 in the past year. So I could see them making it back to that.
Yeah, there's some upside.
I'm a fan of the hunt. I got them on my shelf.
I agree with you too in terms of fixing your old stuff's only going to last so long. And when you live in the state that we live in, Michigan, and all the routine construction that has to happen on our roads over here, because we get battered by every kind of season. Caterpillar, you see their equipment fixing our roads every single year. How long can you make old equipment last? At some point, you got to bite the bullet, right?
Yeah, and it's also super relevant to note that, they have a sponsorship with the NHL. Free agency starts this Wednesday, so, let's go Cat.
All right, Bucks, one thing we do want to point out in this week ahead are the CPI. Inflation numbers come out July 13th, this Wednesday. And also stay tuned where we might also talk about soaked wieners or Elon Twitter saga, or will Chris Brown's NFT collection ever sell out? But we also talk about crypto and stocks and NFTs. Thank you so much for listening to Your $3 and connect with us. We'd love to hear from you. Follow us on Twitter at 3_Bucks. Have a suggestion? Tweet us, DM us. Until next time, happy hunting.